Hey sis, welcome to the Sisterhood, Soul, and Strategy podcast, a space for women building businesses that feel as good as they look. I'm Steph, a small town girl from Wisconsin with big dreams to positively impact the world. This podcast is from the heart, where we share real conversations about building intentional businesses that thrive in every season. And the best part, we talk both soul and strategy, and we wrap it all up in sisterhood. Because let's be real, business is more fun in community. So no matter your age or stage of small business ownership, you stumbled upon this podcast for a reason. Now, let's get to the good stuff. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I'm joined here today by my dear friend Cat, who is a podcast host. She's an experienced curator, a small business strategist and consultant, and really just an incredible connector and human that I'm excited to have this conversation with today. So we're going to get right in it, Cat.
Sounds good.
You have been on the podcast before, so
Yes.
we're going deep right away. You've had a lot of changes in the recent last year. So take us to that pivotal moment, that catalyst for transformation to where you are now.
Yeah. So I think the last time I was on the podcast, events was my thing. It was planning, it was coordinating. I was in it, launching the community.
Yes.
I announced it for the first time.
You said it on the podcast.
And then in January, I had launched. I was kind of in this full mode. You were in the community with me, and I went to an event, and I had already kind of been honestly rock bottom financially, and we were stretched thin. And I just wanted to keep pouring into people, but I also myself, my stress and anxiety had spiked.
Totally.
And I went to an event, and I actually was co-hosting, and I left, and I was just questioning. And I can't tell you, I didn't do the breath work, I didn't go through anything, but just something being in that room and around the people who are doing the things and who are also struggling as well. It was like, events isn't it for me. It's a passion. I love it. And I love being a part of it. I love attending. I love supporting. I really like hosting even my own.
Yeah.
And I was like, crap. I was like, I don't think this is it. And honestly, I went through 2-3 months of deep inner work. I use ChatGPT as my own little therapist.
Who hasn't?
I dove into me and you talked a few times, and I was like, voice memos with my community and those deep connections. And it finally hit me because I got my first fractional client during that time. And I was like, I think I'm meant to do something else and start to create my own spaces for community and building community, and also really dive into the world of operations and organization. That's still that event side of organizing is a piece of it, but it's to support the business owner in a different way as they grow and they scale. And it lit me up a lot more.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a lot more financial stability in that. a lot more.
We have to be real about that. We have to find things that are going to support us. Otherwise, we can't have a business.
Exactly. But through all of it, what came through most importantly was I realized my purpose was no longer tied to what I was doing. And I didn't realize how tied up that had been. My purpose was literally around, I want to help event host, bring to life their events, make money, feel confident, show up in their full energy. And everything had always been tied to previous jobs, to previous businesses I had had as a travel agent even. And I finally realized that my purpose was I want to ignite self-trust and sovereignty in others by living it first myself. And as soon as that hit, the 1st of May, it was right after your event, actually.
Summit, yeah.
Yeah, it was right after Summit. I was like, that's it. And now I can see it in everything I'm doing. I'm having to live it first myself, but I'm building that trust back into entrepreneurs, into business owners. Even in my consultants, like a big medical company, I'm having to help them learn to start trusting themselves and their systems and their team. And it's all now connected, unlike it's ever been before.
I love that. And I think that is such a point that I want to drive home, because even in my own journey, it was needing to step back and practice what I believed to be possible as an entrepreneur, and then build my life around that. And then that's how I get to help other people. So I think that is such a valid point of when you're feeling like there's this friction in your day to day and what you're trying to do and pursue as a business owner, it could be just because there's a better way.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be doing something different, and it's still going to have those elements and pieces that you love, that light you up, but it's just going to look different. And I always say, like, we never actually know how the desired result that we want is going to come to us. Often it's actually out of left field. Like
Yep.
we never would have envisioned that.
100%.
But when we're open to it and we kind of let go of the reins and surrender, which it sounds like at that point you were in like full surrender mode.
Yep.
Then you just don't even know what's possible. And I think that's a really great lead into talking about this holistic side that you bring into something that is maybe more structured and analytical and corporate even, but you're bringing this holistic approach as a consultant with your clients or even in community with other business owners. So what does that mean? What does that look like for you to bring that piece?
Yeah, it's been really interesting because I think, and you know this, and I briefly mentioned medical client, like I'm in a medical world of insurance and HCPCS codes. And if you're in the medical world, good for you, because I don't understand any of that. But I've been learning, and it's so hard because I realized deep down what I'm doing is I'm helping them change their systems. We're evolving, we're migrating, we're getting more organized. But deep down, it's a mindset shift. Like they have to be in the right mindset. They also have to be thinking about how can they show up for the business and for even what we're working on while still taking care of themselves. Because when they take care of themselves and their energy, they show up better for the meetings. They show up better for their team. And they don't know I'm doing it. It's the fun thing. And that's what I love. But it's those slight things I ask questions like, how was your weekend? Or we'll be going on a Friday meeting and I'm like, what are you doing this weekend? I like, don't get on your computer. I want you to take the full weekend off. Like these things can wait till Monday. So even though it's not per se something maybe I'm like teaching fully, it's slowly like putting it in their ear.
Instead of jumping right to the work and the business.
Exactly. And starting to pause because a lot of them, that's what they do. They don't want to jump right in. And I'm like, no. We're not going to jump right in right now. Let's like pause for a second. And some people are very against that. And especially a corporate world, it's like, no, we're going to get in the meeting. And it's like, yeah, this is how the meeting works. And then like, we're going to take 5 minutes and check on each other. Aside from that, like with my fractional clients and even into more of what I'm doing, like on the immersions and the events and community building is I'm also starting to ask them like what's their priorities right now in life and business. So don't just think about the business, think about both pieces. And it's been really interesting. I have one client in particular who we like dumped everything. And I was like, so well, what right now is priority so you can show up the way you want to for everything else? Like out of everything, what is it? And she's like, oh, it's like taking care of myself and my home. When I have a clean home and when I'm getting up and walking in the morning, oh, I show up so much better to my meetings. I'm like, that's priority. That means first thing in the morning when you wake up, let's focus on that first. Like maybe you need clean dishes in the morning or before you go to bed at night, clean your dishes so you feel better getting up in the morning. So it's little things on how I approach that. It's not crazy. I'm not asking for anything big and I'm not teaching something big. But it's the simple little things that I drip in. So then it's a lot easier, honestly, working with them too.
Yeah. And I think that to me would feel like a very refreshing approach than just getting right down to, okay, what are we doing in the business? And always focusing on that because you're right. We do show up 10 times better for the work that we're doing, whether it's in a business or at work, when we've actually done something small, even for ourselves, to ground ourselves, to start the day, to, our drive into the office might be stressful. So like, what are we doing? Taking that pause and pulling back can be so essential. So I love that you're bringing that into whoever you're working with and the communities that you're building.
Hey, it's just me here interrupting the podcast to tell you about my favorite cup of tea and why this is such a ritual for me daily. I love the Rosarium from Inner Garden Botanicals, pouring it from my little tea brewer here. And for me, this just brings presence, peace, and calm to my day. It's a really simple yet essential piece of my evening routine. And I've even started drinking it more throughout the day, which if you know me, I've always been a caffeine addict. And so this forces me to reduce my caffeine intake, slow down, enjoy and savor this beautiful cup of tea. I love the loose leaf blends from Inner Garden Botanicals, and I absolutely love everything that this company stands for, which is all about rituals, presence, peace, which is what I'm all about and how we can support ourselves in the seasonalities of life. If you want to try out Inner Garden Botanicals, you can get 20% off your first order when you use my code SOULSISTER20 today. Cheers to bringing in some incredible rituals into our day today that support us and ground us in the present moment, like Inner Garden Botanicals.
Hey sis, did you get your ticket yet for Sister Circle Summit 2026? If not, what are you waiting for? This is so much more than just your average, and dare I say, boring business conference. This experience of Summit is a Midwest movement bringing together the trailblazing women small business owners across the Midwest and beyond for a 2-day experience that is so much deeper than just strategy and also more than just sitting and listening to speakers. You are going to feel the difference this year. We're at a brand new venue. We have a brand new schedule and flow. We've added brand new pieces to this event, like our soul session and VIP mastermind dinner. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, now is the time to do so. Invite your fellow sisters or come solo because you're going to make so many new friends. There is so much intentionality behind this event, from the sisterhood connections to the soul level subconscious work we're going to dig into, as well as, we're always delivering you a business strategy in real time. So what are you waiting for? Go to sistercircle.co, get your ticket today, use my code STEPH, and save on your ticket, and I hope to see you there.
So let's talk about the magic that you bring to the purpose, the deeper experience, and who you are beyond just what you do. Because you kind of talked about that too, how like you've had to really pull that apart.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Cat beyond success, beyond strategy?
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think, the biggest thing that I went through, like I said, February and March, is everything was so tied to what I was doing versus the deeper. So as soon as I realized my purpose was self-trust and helping build that trust in others, I've been able, again, to connect the dots. It also has opened me up to realize I have to also live what I preach.
Yes.
I'm really great at saying it, but do I actually do it myself?
Yeah.
No, and it's harder when we have to turn inwards and start doing it ourselves. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's much more difficult. I mean, I think I was joking earlier about sponsorships. Like, I'm great at teaching other people to do it. I can help you do sponsorships all day. When I think about my own events and trying to find sponsors, I'm like, where do I
Right.
I have all the tools, but where do I start?
Yeah.
So same thing is what lights me up, what helps me start my mornings. For so long, I've always been the person of like, let's get up and work out and I'm going to get some things done and prep for my day. I've actually flipped it completely on its head. And it's like, no, I need a slow morning.
Yes.
I want to get up and make coffee.
Me too.
Do a little stretching, a little yoga.
Yeah, I need some movement.
Just something, a little journaling. I might
Yep.
listen to a meditation or some slow music. But that's so different than I used to be. But it took me going through everything I did and figuring out my purpose before I actually started acting on that and reminding myself daily, like, I have to live this first, because if I want my clients, if I want my community, or if I, even just my connections like you, like if I'm not doing it and I come and try to give you advice or like talk to you, like you're like, yeah, great. And it's like, but what about you? And you have to remember there's that balance between the two. So for me, focusing on me has in turn been supportive to everyone that's around me. And I show up better.
Yeah.
And much more energy and awareness, even just that awareness piece.
Well, and I think that's not only how you actually build trust with other people, is to live in integrity and practice what you preach, but also that's how you build trust within yourself to actually do the things that you say you want and are going to do. If I go to bed, I'm saying this to myself, if I go to bed and say I'm going to get up tomorrow at this time, I need to do that.
Yeah.
and it can be so hard based on the seasons that you're in. And that's where I think we still need to give ourselves grace and evolve. Like you were saying, I needed to go from a really like crazy get up, workout, run, whatever morning to I actually need a slow morning.
Yeah.
And that could change in the future too.
It's the awareness. It's paying attention to like when you are doing one way and then all of a sudden your day starts to shift and you're realizing you're not showing up in your best. It's like, what's causing that? Is it something throughout your day? Is it your morning? Is it even your like evening routine? But it's different for everybody. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've realized is I'm going to come to you as my fractional client but what I do with one is not the same I do for the other and the other, because it's very personalized to them and their lives and their goals and their dreams and desires.
100%. Yes, we cannot coach or consult everyone to do the same thing because our version of success is going to look different, and also could look different in this season of our life versus this season of my life. Like, I think of what my morning routine used to be compared to what it is now, and I'm
very
like,
different.
yeah, like there's some room for improvement there for sure, but also I am in a totally different season, so I've had to adjust that, and that can be hard too, but it is like, well, what is within my realm of control, and how can I show up as my best self? Well, I'm curious, just based on these intentional experiences that you're creating, whether it's your immersions or different retreats, events that you're hosting, even locally where you live, what's calling you to them?
This one is such a good question, because I think I've been sitting with that a lot recently. And to be honest, I actually admitted to someone else this morning. I was like, I love the consulting and fractional work. I can see myself doing some of that long term. But what lights me up is the immersions and the community events, because I get to not just me come in and share my wisdom and advice, but I get to create a safe space where others can do the same and support one another. And you mentioned it earlier, like being this like master connector, like I am very well connected and I know a lot of people that can support one another. And to be able to create a space where people can come, feel safe and trust one another, and then see what happens from there, the transformations, what lights them up, or like that aha moment of, oh, I didn't think of it that way, or like, oh, I've known that, but it just finally clicked in for them. I've experienced it kind of before, but never in the way where I've gotten to create that foundational space for that magic really to happen and that transformation. So I think that's why I keep coming back, is I want to see more of those. And so many people are doing this, but they're doing it in all different ways. And I have my unique way of doing it. And I also, and not everyone can go to everybody else's. So finding the right people who can support one another and be in the room together and both give and receive as well.
And I think as someone who also hosts my own experiences, I get just as much joy out of building the room and curating this experience and seeing everyone else's transformation as hopefully everyone else is getting out of being a participant. So I think there's just like that giving and receiving. I mean, yes, I still love going to my own where I can just be the participant, but I think there's like that special magic of bringing your own vision to life to create those sparks of transformation among other people. And that can bring a lot of purpose and joy. And you can still, that's the beauty, is you can still do all of that alongside the fractional work and the more day-to-day things that you're doing. It's not like you're going to go to a retreat every week anyway.
No.
Away from the specialness of it anyways. It is intentionally curated a couple times a year to bring people together. And I love that you also are very intentional about who you're bringing together and how. And I think there's a lot of value in these small rooms that you're building. You know, I think it's really easy to get caught up in wanting these 100+ events, and they can be great, but they're also not typically where the depth happens.
No. And
so talk to that a little bit.
I was going to say, it's interesting you say that, because I've thought about putting together like a 7,500. I mean, I live in a small town as well.
And you could.
And I
could. Have all the skills.
And I have all the connections. I'll be honest, there's this little bubble of like anxiety that comes up, because I think my experience as an event planner and coordinator, I have seen what happens.
Like the of other people.
And I know also what I've learned and I have preached is that don't do it yourself. When you're an event host, you need the support. You need the volunteers. You need a planner, a coordinator, whatever you can afford, so you can show up in your full energy. And that's the biggest thing I believe in. And I'm trying to now really live going into 2026 with these, even, is how can I lean on people around me to show up in my full energy? But something about the intimate space. I love a good room that's like rah, like it's all the inspiration.
You need that energy.
You need that. And
balance
we have to, yes, you need a balance with the depth, because that's where you can really work through what are you currently going through? What are the struggles? What are the challenges? What are the celebrations? And like really get to be one another in it and in those emotions. And again, that's where the trust is built. In a big room, I'm not willing to open up about some of the things that are going on, because there's 100, 600 people, 1,000.
Well, and to be able to hold space for that, you can't.
No, you can't. You can't. Like, it's just not good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
On an energetic level, it's just probably not healthy.
Yes.
But that's why those small spaces, and I get to know them more.
Yes.
And I then really can be like, ooh, I want to connect you over here. And I can sit and just listen and not feel like I'm being pulled 1,000 different directions either. Because in these immersions, we don't jam pack the day. There's a lot of space for time for yourself, time to connect with one another, co-work, and that to me is more important because you're not just getting the information, you're getting to integrate and actually implement it too.
Yeah, so there's absolutely value in both. It's like go to the conference, go to the thing where you're going to get the maybe content or ideas, and then having these smaller immersions where you get to actually marinate and get to know each other and implement and strategize together. And I think, yes, having a balance of both, and even just knowing what season you're in and what do you need right
Which
now.
rooms do you need to be in? Like, it's also the people
about it.
Yeah.
Well, I have loved this conversation. So where can we continue to connect with you and support you?
Yeah. So Instagram, best one, it's Cat.Roden. My podcast is just rebranding. No, it doesn't still come out, but it will be back to Imperfectly Impactful. It just is so much more aligned with me and who I am. And there's things coming. So the podcast is probably the best place. That's where a lot of announcements will be going into next year about immersions, other events, and some other things that are brewing.
Exciting. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Steph. I appreciate it.
Hey sis, if this episode spoke to you, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our weekly conversations that drop every Monday. And would you share this with a fellow sister that needs to hear this message too? If you're craving sisterhood, soul, and strategy in action, I'd love for you to step inside our Sister Circle community, where we gather, grow, and build intentional businesses together in real life and real time. I promise, business is more fun in sisterhood. Until next time, keep leading with soul, honoring your season, and don't forget, I'm always cheering for you.